Welcome back to Attack on Cowboys, and ladies and gentlemen, we have our first bit of movement after the Dallas Cowboys mandatory minicamp period, and it comes by way of 2 signings and 2 releases, unfortunately for the players released. Let's get right into it as we discuss the 2 players who've been signed, as I already had a chance to actually go and look at these guys a few days ago when we first started hearing about the fact that they were getting worked out by the Dallas Cowboys, and we're going to briefly go over the guys that got released. Be sure to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content, and let's get right into it. Man, shut your up. All right, we have Nick Harris here. He says the Dallas Cowboys have waived defensive tackle Justin Rogers and cornerback Luke Barcoo following mandatory minicamp. They have also signed defensive tackle Perion Winfrey, who was a round 4 pick in 2022, and he played in the UFL in 2025. We'll get to him in just a second. And we have cornerback Robert Rochelle, a 2021 round 4 pick, and he played for Green Bay in 2024. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into this because I know what y'all are actually looking for. Y'all trying to figure out what type of signings are these? Are these camp bodies? Are these just guys you're going to throw out there and, you know, just a body to make sure we can get through the summer or whatever? I'm going to say it like this, bro. One of these guys could end up being a surprise. The other guy is actually going to be a contributor and probably not in the way that you think. First, let's go ahead and tackle Perion Winfrey, the defensive tackle. He mainly plays 3 tech. This is not your nose tackle. This is not a guy that's going to be able to play that 0 for you. This is not a 2-gapper. This is a defensive tackle who specializes in getting upfield and is violent at the point of attack. He's a big fellow sitting at 6'4", almost 300 pounds, and he has good wingspan. All right, so that's another trait that we're starting to realize that this front office really kind of hangs their laurels on. They like guys with long arms, apparently, right? But Perion Winfrey, he actually spent some time in the UFL this past season, and while playing in the UFL, he actually was able to bring home all UFL honors, getting a total of 29 tackles and 1 sack, and he did not actually get a full slate of play time there in the UFL, but he was able to make an impact and again was named to all UFL honors. So this was one of the better players in the lower league that is the United Football League. Now, as it pertains to where he may fit on this roster, I think that he has a good chance of actually making a roster. If you actually take a look at the defensive tackle room, it's extremely skinny for the Dallas Cowboys right now. As of right now, we have Mozzie Smith, Osa Digizua, Solomon Thomas, Jay Toye, Denzel Daxon, Tommy King Basote, and Ernest Brown IV. Now, I know those are plenty of names that I just named, but let's be real, y'all. At least 4 or 5 of them dudes probably will never see the field in a meaningful way, at least not this season. I expect Mozzie Smith, Osa, Solomon Thomas, and Jay Toye to be the extent of where the Cowboys kind of want to experiment with. Tommy King Basote will probably get some play time based off of being a rookie, and they kind of want to see what they have in them, but they absolutely going to need some more depth at that defensive tackle position. And why not go get a guy in Perion Winfrey that he honestly, his biggest issue in the NFL, after doing some research on him, his biggest issue in the NFL was the fact that he had some issues. He just had some issues as far as personality-wise, as far as behavior-wise off the field. Whether take that however you want to take it, whether that be in the locker room or off the field, away from the building. That is the crux of the reports coming from the Cleveland Brown community, is essentially the reason that he was let go, the reason that he wasn't successful in the league, even though he was a good player, was more so about discipline, more so about temperament, more so about his mentality and his approach to things. So hopefully he had some time to kind of gather himself. He had to take a year off away from the NFL. He went to the UFL, and hopefully he had some time to actually kind of mature a little bit throughout that period. And coming into the Dallas Cowboys, this is why you build a good culture. So that way you can go out and get talented guys who may not be the best culture pieces, quote unquote, but they can fit in to the culture that you have, and you have a strong enough structure in place where guys can kind of fall in place, right? So hopefully that's the case with a Perion Winfrey. Glad to have this guy in Dallas. We needed another defensive tackle. Would love to see them go out and still get another defensive tackle that has a little bit more skins on the wall, somebody that's a little bit more proven. But this is an interesting gamble right here. He's a younger guy, was just drafted in 2022, so it's still a younger guy right here. And I mean, I'm interested to see how it's going to play out. He played well in the UFL. Let's see how he goes for the Cowboys. Now, the second guy, Robert Rochelle. This one is going to be more of a special teams acquisition right here. All right. So, yes, he plays cornerback, but by no means should he actually be out on the field playing cornerback. More than likely, when we see Robert Rochelle, it will be by way of him being a gunner on kickoff coverage. And he is one of the better guys in the league at doing that. If you actually take a look at his time in Green Bay, he has had several times where he's been able to essentially down the ball on the one or make those hustle plays to make sure the ball doesn't bounce into the end zone and touch back, whatever it may be. I think that's the extent of what you're going to see from a Robert Rochelle this upcoming season for the Dallas Cowboys. Is he's going to be one of those special team studs, kind of playing that Amani Oruwariye role that he played for the Dallas Cowboys this past season. Robert Rochelle, special team signing. Now, let's get to some of the guys that actually got released. The guys that were released were, again, Justin Rogers and cornerback Luke Barcoo. Justin Rogers is someone that hasn't had much opportunity, but what's very, very interesting about that is, yes, they released a defensive tackle to sign a defensive tackle. But what's very interesting is Justin Rogers' body type is actually more fit for a one tech, is more fit for a zero. He's 6'3", almost 350 pounds. So this is a big back. This is a big back boy right here. And I'm kind of surprised that the Cowboys dropped him. I'm kind of surprised that they let him go like this. I'm not mistaken. I think this is the same dude that ended up signing with the Bengals last season after he got cut, and then he ended up coming back to the Cowboys or something. But either way, I'm surprised they let him go because you would think they would want the type of player or the body type that he is on that roster, because they really don't have many other guys on the roster that fits that body type, honestly. But what this shows us is Eberflus's move to more of an attacking style front, getting those guys on that front line upfield a little bit more and not necessarily just filling gaps and just trying to let linebackers play cleanup. You can see going out and releasing the Justin Rogers, bringing in the Perion Winfrey. Those are completely two different style defensive tackles. And Perrion, again, is a little bit more violent at the point of attack and a little bit better at getting upfield than someone like a Justin Rogers, right? But Perrion also played the run pretty well in the UFL as well. So that should be somebody that kind of help us with that. So very interesting change off right there, in my opinion. Luke Barcoo, someone that didn't really see too much time with the Cowboys, so we're not going to get too much into that. But yeah, man, 2 signings for the Cowboys, 2 releases. They signed one of the better, if not one of the best defensive tackles out of the UFL. So that's something, I guess. Wave the celebration flag. That's something, I guess. Anyway, appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Be sure to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content just like this on the regular. And how about
calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Hey! I'm still them boys.